I think I have a little atypical perspective on these issues. I arrived in Romania as a Peace Corps volunteer in 2000. So I've been here 10 years. After the Peace Corps, with a Romanian colleague, a teacher, I started an NGO. And we have been working on education issues. We did not start out to address Roma issues. We started out to address these kids that I noticed on the street who were begging, who were standing around begging when I first got to Bacău, a city of about 200,000 in the Moldova region of Romania. And it was a little jarring to see kids in front of big new bank buildings and big new churches begging on the street, and people in suits walking right by. I had not seen that before. And I got to know one little kid who was doing that, and I took him to a shelter, children's shelter, which he was absolutely delighted to be there. And however, on the third day that he was there, his mother showed up. This is a kid who I thought was about 5, but it turned out he was 8. He was small for his age. And after 3 days, his mother comes looking for him and finds him here. And she was furious. You know, how can you've destroyed the whole economic system of my family, was the sort of the implication. She had several children, and he was the one that was supporting the family. So, you know, I, as an American, felt like, but it was outrageous that this child was begging, and the police got involved, and they took a deposition from her, and she would take her son, and then the next day he would be on the street begging again. So, and I would say to the police, why aren't you doing something more about this? This is child labor. And one of the things they said to me was, well, which would you prefer, for them to steal or starve? You know, that basically there are 3 options available to these people. So, also the mother, in our various meetings, at one point she said, why don't you pick on somebody else's kid? There are so many on the street. Why are you picking on me? And so, of course, this is, I thought about this a lot. And we wound up getting a grant from USAID to start a mother's training program in order to make it possible for mothers of children who are on the street begging to support their kids, so the kids didn't have to support them. We found out when we started doing this that for every kid on the street, there are probably 3 or 4 sitting in a ghetto apartment or a shed who don't have the social skills to successfully beg, and but they're also not going to school. So I grew up in Texas during the Civil Rights Movement, and I heard the same aspersions cast against niggers and Mexicans, as they were called in polite society then, as I heard about gypsies when I arrived in Romania. They're dirty, they're lazy, they're ignorant, they're untrustworthy, but they're musically gifted. Exactly the same references. And the most damning one, that they're just different from us. They have a different culture, and education isn't valued in their culture. In other words, what can we do?